Hey all, it's Morgan Young, and this is Long Story Shorts, where we are diving into the headlines, taking over your social media feed, and you don't even have to swipe. We have a lot to get to in this episode, so let's jump right in. It is the day after the Texas primaries, and there's still a bit of uncertainty following confusion for many Dallas County voters who say they had issues on figuring out where to vote following a change in Election Day voting location rules. Teresa Woodard is bringing us the latest on that headline, and then we're going to get into some other big stories from the night.
Quick update from Austin again. We have heard from the Texas Supreme Court there will be no oral arguments in the Dallas County election case. Remember, here's what happened. On election night, a judge allowed Democratic precincts to stay open until 9 p.m. The state Supreme Court came back and said, nope, not going to happen. Dallas County Democrats then told us they were going to fight. They wanted to try to get in front of the Supreme Court this morning. It's an oral argument morning. They wanted to try to make sure that the votes that were cast after 7 p.m. would be counted. Well, now we know the Supreme Court has confirmed no oral arguments in that case today. But in addition, Jasmine Crockett has now conceded to James Tallarico. Colin Allred has made the runoff. Those are the two candidates who were really pushing this effort, so it might be a moot point. But election attorneys for the Democrats are probably still strategizing to see how and if they want to move forward in any way.
And I'm curious, Domingo, you watched Dallas County politics, Democratic politics in this county for a long time. Should the party have done a better job alerting voters and alerting their primary voters?
Evidently. I mean, when you got people waiting an hour, 2 hours at 7 o'clock. The fact of the matter is, I don't think it was anticipated the way that the turnout has been. It's record numbers of turnouts. Statewide, Democrats have outvoted Republicans for the first time in 20 years. And this Crockett-Tallarico race and the enthusiasm to vote against what's happening in Washington has generated turnout. And I don't think the local officials were prepared for it, and that's why we're seeing this kind of chaos right now at the polls.
Jason, I'll jump in and say that 20% of these Democratic of the voters have not voted in a primary before, so they weren't on any kind of Democratic text list or email list. Democrats wouldn't even know that they plan to come out and vote in the primary to notify them about the change in polling place.
What's your take on all this? Is it going to pass? Go ahead.
I also saw a stat that 21% of the Democrats who voted early were actually Republicans voting in the Democratic primary for the first time. So just that 20% of new voters also not knowing where to go vote.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy that. That's a big number. But
there are a lot of competitive races on the Republican side. I'd be surprised if you had Republicans doing that.
Now, maybe, but we've got competitive races on the Republican side too. But I love how much credit, Matt. Thank you for the credit for that. We're changing up the race by splitting the ballot and all these evil plans. But I think
you've got about 20 years of Republicans changing the rules in order to benefit themselves.
But this is all very simple. I mean, I think the Tallarico campaign has infrastructure. They are organized. They have a get out the vote machine. The Crockett campaign has none of those things. Certainly not at the level that Tallarico does. He can do the job of getting people out.
Man, the primary election cost 5 Texas politicians their seats. These are 5 incumbents who we weren't expecting really to lose their races that ended up losing once voters went to the polls and the ballots were finally counted. Let's go down the list here. Starting at the top of the list, Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw from Houston. He lost his re-election race in the Republican primary to Steve Toth, a Republican member of the Texas legislature. The Agriculture Commissioner here, Sid Miller, the incumbent, a Republican, lost to Nate Sheets. This is interesting because I don't remember the last time a Republican incumbent statewide official has lost their primary race for re-election. This is interesting also because President Trump endorsed Sid Miller late in the game, but still endorsed Sid Miller, and that endorsement evidently did not carry a lot of support and a lot of weight. Perhaps it was too late in the game for that to actually get voters to turn out. A little farther down the ballot here, Kelly Hancock, the acting comptroller. He had been polling behind the entire time for the permanent position. Don Huffines, former state senator from Dallas, was running against Hancock along with Christy Craddock and a few other names. Huffines ended up winning this outright. There's not going to be a runoff. Huffines is now the Republican nominee for Texas comptroller after leaving the Texas Senate a few years back. And then 2 Democratic upsets we didn't really have on our bingo card at all. Democrat State Rep Chris Turner, a veteran Democrat, a veteran of the Texas legislature, the former caucus chairman, the former minority leader for Democrats in the Texas House of Representatives. He lost to a 26-year-old local member of the city council there in Tarrant County, a guy named Junior Izanu. Ended up upsetting Turner, and that's catching a lot of eyebrows as well. Then finally, it looks like the Dallas County District Attorney, John Creuzot, the chief prosecutor, is losing his re-election race to Judge Amber Givens.
The U.S. government is urging Americans to leave multiple Middle Eastern countries as tensions between the U.S. and Iran continue to boil. Meanwhile, Iran has made a threat of its own.
Due to the war in Iran, the State Department is warning Americans to leave more than a dozen Middle East countries, including Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates, because of serious safety risks. Americans are facing challenges getting out of these countries with sweeping airspace closures in effect. In a video posted to the State Department's website, Secretary of State Marco Rubio urges Americans in the Middle East to go to step.state.gov and register with the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. It is step.state.gov so that the State Department can reach you. Americans in the Middle East who need assistance can call the following number 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 1-202-501-4444. 1-202-501-4444.
Right now, Iran is threatening to set ships on fire if they cross the Strait of Hormuz. As a correspondent with CNN, I spent years covering that narrow passage and have been out there several times, including 2012 when Iran threatened to mine the strait. A coalition of warships deployed to the area, and we got an up-close look at their efforts to get Iran to back down. You'll hear a lot about how narrow the strait is, 21 to 24 miles wide. But it's really 6 miles of water that matters most. The actual shipping lanes are only 2 miles wide, one incoming, one outgoing, separated by a buffer only 2 miles wide. It's bordered by Iran and Oman, and there's really no viable alternative to shipping so much oil, 21 million barrels a day. I've seen firsthand some low-level skirmishes involving small boats in the strait, but this is the most dangerous it's been in years.
Days after a mass shooting at a popular bar on Austin's 6th Street, we are getting new video of the suspected shooter, and we are hearing from witnesses who heard the gunfire, as well as heartbroken Austinites who frequent the bar where this happened. But first, senior political reporter Jason Wiley is bringing the demands from Republican lawmakers following this tragedy.
Texas Republicans are calling on Congress to put a pause on all immigration in the United States in the aftermath of that massacre on 6th Street in Austin over the weekend. 71 Texas Republicans sent a letter to top congressional leaders, and they have 4 demands for them. First, pause all immigration until vetting can improve. Second, fully fund the Department of Homeland Security. You know, it's been going back and forth as Democrats are still protesting the masked federal agents that were participating in the violent arrest in Minneapolis that left 2 citizens up there dead. Third, freeze the H-1B work visas until an audit can happen on that program. And finally, Republicans want to redirect resources to identify domestic threats. That essentially means they want to cross-reference immigration records with intelligence records to make sure there's nobody in the U.S. that should not be here who might be a threat to all of us. Remember, the FBI is investigating the 6th Street massacre as a potential case of terrorism. The suspect in that case was shot and killed on the streets there. He's a 53-year-old naturalized citizen from Senegal. And if you've seen the photos of it, he is wearing that sweatshirt that says "Property of Allah." Texas lawmakers are saying, listen, if Congress doesn't act here, they want the states empowered to step in, and they're pledging to use every legal and legislative tool available to do so.
We just got video that a neighbor says shows the Austin mass shooting suspect leaving his apartment just hours before the shooting on 6th Street. This is the video that a neighbor shared with me from his doorbell camera. In it, you can see a man leaving an apartment. This is hours before the shooting early Sunday morning. You can see what he's wearing, that gray sweatshirt and those kind of cargo camo pants. Compare that to this picture verified by ABC News that shows that 53-year-old suspect. The neighbor says he knew something was wrong when the FBI came and raided the apartment across the hall from him the next day. He even got video of that happening in progress, those FBI agents. He says they busted out a window and busted through the door of that apartment. That's when he checked his doorbell camera and said, oh, this guy maybe lived across the hall from me. This was an apartment in Del Valle, which is near Austin. Some of you may be thinking, wait a second, I saw a video of this FBI raid on Sunday at a neighborhood in a suburb of Austin called Pflugerville, about half an hour from 6th Street. Yes, I was at that other raid as well. This is new that we've learned the FBI has served a search warrant on this property. When asked about it at a press conference, the Austin police chief says they serve search warrants both on the address where they think that suspect lived and also one where they think he congregated or spent time. The address in Pflugerville comes back to him as well. All of this comes as the FBI is still trying to figure out the motive behind this attack. Was it terrorism? Was it not? You saw that picture of him wearing that sweatshirt earlier. Sources tell ABC he was also wearing a shirt that had the Iranian flag on it. Obviously, this attack happening hours after the United States and Israel bombed targets in Iran. But the backdrop to all of this, of course, is tragedy. As we learned, a third person taken off life support yesterday has died as a result of this attack.
This is not like fireworks. I think this is gun. And everybody was running. It was crazy. I think 3-4 minutes later, we heard more shoot, and I think the officers killed the guy. People is crying a lot, and we try to help these people because the people was like lost, you know where I can run. And yeah, my manager say Gabriel, help these people and coming inside, you know. And you just think about survivors, you know. You just think about this, like just survive. And me and my co-workers just was trying to help the people, you know, everybody inside. And I talked to GJ to say in the microphone, okay, something crazy is happening outside, so everybody try to chill here. Yeah, this is my first time I got like this situation in my life. You know, it's crazy.
I am in Austin on 6th Street, right in front of the bar where the mass shooting happened this weekend. And I just want to share a couple of thoughts from stories we have heard through the evening. First, there was a young man, 24 years old, who was here at Buford's on the patio when the shooting happened. Now, he was not up for being on camera, but he talked to me about huddling behind a wall with his friend and seeing people who were bleeding, hearing so much gunfire. He came back here just to try to piece together everything. Then there was another young man, 23 years old. Mason was his name. He is a Buford's regular, says he grew up in Austin and has been coming here since before he was legally supposed to. He admitted that with a little bit of a smile, but he was in tears talking about what this place means to him. He said it's where he comes for calm, to smile, to have some fun with friends, just to escape a world that can be cruel. Both of them came here just trying to look for some sort of an answer, some sort of a way for any of this to make sense. And I don't know if it ever will.
Back here in North Texas, there are some big headlines you need to know about, from the discussions about the future of City Hall to a big DFW airport traffic alert and an update from our Investigates team. Here are the headlines that you need to know about here at home.
Well, Chris, the City Council Economic Development Committee meeting was packed. Not a seat was empty, and in fact, people had to sit in the overflow. Now, what drew this large crowd today is the future of City Hall. Now, a report that was recently released estimates that the cost to keep City Hall in this building is about $1 billion, including repairs and relocation while repairs take place. That projected cost is leaving people divided on whether it's worth staying here or moving elsewhere and possibly tearing down this building. Now, you can see a sea of blue in the meeting. Those are people in support of saving City Hall. They say they don't want to see the city's operation move from here, questioning that $1 billion estimate and calling for comparison projects. Now, many also say this feels rushed as rumors of the site going to the Mavs circulate. Now, those wanting to abandon the building say it could be an opportunity to reimagine downtown and connect downtown to areas like South Dallas.
And while not everything can possibly be known to the last cent of certainty in a project this large and complex, we believe that it made a compelling and overwhelming case that this building needs major comprehensive rehabilitation.
It is insulting to your constituents. insulting. My God, what have we become that we argue these points and we are thrown down this rabbit hole to wonder why it all doesn't add up?
Now, 4 city council members have submitted a letter to the Texas Historical Commission urging a historical review of the building to renovate and preserve it as much as possible. And this could also delay any immediate actions. Now, after the public hearing today, city council got a chance to ask the city manager's office about the urgency of redevelopment, connectivity to other surrounding districts, and the community and economic impact. Now, there will be a special meeting on Wednesday, and while the city manager's office say that there's no backdoor deal with the Mavs, they do expect to issue an open call for concepts and ideas later this month.
Quick heads up, if you're heading to DFW Airport, access has shifted again as part of the airport's ongoing roadway construction project. Terminal D's north exit is closed right now. If you're leaving Terminal D, you'll need to use the south exit instead. And if you need to head back north, just take the designated U-turn inside the airport loop. Terminal C is only accessible from the southbound side of International Parkway. So if you're coming from the south, you'll drive north past the terminals, take the next available U-turn, and then loop back south into Terminal C. Bottom line, it's not the usual traffic pattern through the airport right now. So give yourself some extra time and check back here for updates.
It happened again.
Going too fast?
Jeremy Boss has seen it before.
Hit the wall.
Only this time, city crews are building a permanent barrier for the roundabout on Tyler Street.
Put something there that they can see it before it gets too late. And it looks like that did pay off on that wreck right there.
It was different last year. Cars flew over the roundabout and into townhomes across the street. Councilmember Chad West pushed for this wall.
If we had not had the wall in the roundabout, it's very possible that driver could have done what all those other drivers did, go over the roundabout, fly up in the air and fly into the apartment complex that's across the street.
Chad West points out that there are several signs like this one encouraging drivers to slow down on Tyler Street ahead of the roundabout. He says it goes to show that the problem isn't with the infrastructure itself, but driver behavior.
The roundabout is working. We just need to work on the driver behavior leading up to the roundabout.
West says a bond-funded corridor study is now underway to address speeding along Tyler Street, but that study will take time.
Yes, it's going too slow. It should have been taken care of a long time ago.
For neighbors here, it feels like a race against the next crash.
Now, on a lighter note, some fun sports news from which teams could make North Texas their home during the FIFA World Cup to the big investment from Mavs head coach Jason Kidd into volleyball.
We caught up with FMCSA Administrator Derek Bars at the Truckload Carriers Association Conference in Orlando.
These are areas we have to work on.
Bars told us he had seen the blind spot special and acknowledged that we had identified real problems the agency is now working to fix. Our joint investigation with WTSP in Tampa documented how so-called chameleon carriers continue operating. We found companies that shut down after fatal crashes then resurfaced under new names, often under the same leadership, exploiting weaknesses in the federal registration system.
The chameleon carrier piece is something that we're working hard with right now. We're going to continue to work hard. We're going to continue to go after the bad actors. And our message has been clear, whether it's entry-level driver training, ELD providers, or carriers that are not doing the right thing, we're going to go after them.
That investigation also detailed how Congress had ordered the FMCSA more than a decade ago to implement a written proficiency exam, meant to ensure new trucking company owners understand federal safety rules. Barr says that is now something the agency is working to get done. You can watch our full blind spots investigation streaming now on WFA+.
We now officially know which countries will set up base camp here in North Texas for the World Cup. So at Toyota Stadium in Frisco, they're going to get the winner of the UEFA Playoff B, which is the Ukraine, Sweden, Poland, or Albania. And then Mansfield is going to get the winner of UEFA Playoff D, which is Denmark, North Macedonia, the Czech Republic, or Ireland. So that Playoff B winner will join Group F right here, and then the Playoff D winner is going to join Group A. And there's 2 base camps that could still potentially be filled in DFW at TCU and UNT. But for now, it's just going to be these 2 playoff winners.
An NBA Hall of Famer just invested in women's volleyball right here in Dallas. Dallas Mavericks head coach Jason Kidd is officially backing the team as its new strategic investor. And it's important to note because he's not alone. Women's basketball legend Nancy Lieberman, she's all in too, and has been an ambassador since 2024. Now, this isn't just another celebrity headline. To me, this represents credibility, community, and a serious belief in the future of women's sports right here in North Texas. And get this, the Dallas Pulse, in their first season, is already sitting at 2nd place in the MLV. Jason Kidd's daughter also plays volleyball, so this investment with the Dallas Pulse is personal. And not to mention, Kidd just launched Jason Kidd Select South about 2 weeks ago. It's a program that helps develop elite female athletes right here in the DFW. Now that is how you grow women's sports right here at home. Dallas isn't just watching the women's sports movement, it's helping lead it. And if you haven't been paying attention to the Dallas Pulse, you need to be.
And finally, we know a lot has happened this week, so we want to leave you with this sweet story that you just have to see from Sean Giggy. Our next episode of Long Story Shorts will be on Friday. In the meantime, we hope you have the best day.
You know what goes great with a good cup of coffee? Cuddles. Hello.
You can get your fix at Cup a Pug, a pug cafe in Frisco.
We are an experience where people come in and they enjoy time with pugs.
Owner Jay Taylor says you can play with up to 25 pugs, pugs who are eagerly waiting for you. The tale of how Cup a Pug started came out of an effort to save this pug, Gizmo. Gizmo is an albino pug, or pink pug, which explains why everything here is pink. And he wasn't expected to live more than a year. To help save him, the first Cup a Pug opened in London. Gizmo is 5 now, and the mission is bigger.
Now we save hundreds and thousands of pugs.
Cup a Pug partners with a local rescue to bring adoptable pugs to the cafe. And a portion of every ticket and merchandise sales go towards saving more pugs. No ifs, ands, or buts.
And we help them get those pugs adopted.
Jay says even if you're not looking to adopt, it's a good chance to have fun and make your day a little brighter.
They get a nice serotonin and dopamine boost, and they feel good walking out.
In other words, you'll leave with a smile.